Give the man some love. We bring him in right now. Billy Ratliff, VFL, joins the program. Billy, how are you, sir? We greatly appreciate the time.
But I'm doing great. Hey, thanks for having me on, guys.
Hey, buddy, I appreciate it. How many people bring up Arkansas? And for those young ones out there that might not know, Billy Ratliff is the one that blew up the offensive line, and we'll talk about that incredible play, the stumble fumble that helped the Vols, that saved the Vols national championship hopes. Billy, when Arkansas comes around, how many people bring up that game to you?
It's a huge deal when this week comes around, guys. And it's funny because my son, he's never watched me play. And just recently, he's just got really involved with his dad when it comes to football. And he had a teammate, brother, asked him to interview me about the Arkansas game. And he's like, it's going to cost you if you're going to interview my dad, man. I'm like, what are you charging people to interview me? I'm supposed to be getting paid, right? And it was funny, man, just hearing the kids think about those days. And I can't believe they remember it.
Well, I remember it like it was yesterday. I mean, for those that don't remember, and Caleb, you take over. I mean, Arkansas had kind of pushed you guys around, and you've talked about that in the book, Celebrate 98. If anybody would like to order a copy of that, feel free. It's on my website. But Caleb, go right ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
That's okay. So Billy, I don't know if you know this, but it's great to meet you, by the way. You have some competition now, because to me that is the greatest play in Tennessee history. But as you know, 13 years later, Arkansas countered with their own version of the greatest play in the history of the series with Tennessee and Arkansas, when Joe Adams fielded a punt return and I think broke a tackle from every single Tennessee player on the field. I don't know if you've seen that one.
Yes, so, I did.
Which play is wilder and which play is greater? Without any bias.
Normally, I don't pat myself on the back, but I'm going to have to say the fumble. I mean, it's history. I mean, we got a championship out of it. So it's a no-brainer when it comes between the two plays.
Yeah, absolutely a no-brainer. So, Billy, you've told me this story a couple of times. Again, it's in the book, and I'm not necessarily pushing the book, but I mentioned it twice. You can order it on offthehooksports.com. But Billy, the crazy part about that game is you weren't supposed to be in at that time. We've talked about it, but we have tens of thousands of new listeners that haven't heard this story. So can you share that with us?
Oh, most definitely. Back then, I mean, we substituted ourselves when it came to rotation. Our defensive line, we was pretty much 3 deep. And at this point in time, it wasn't my time to rotate to go play. It was Jeff Coleman's turn to go in. But on the sideline, Al Wilson kind of hyping us up and chewing us out at the same time. And once we're getting hyped, Jeff Coleman, he's getting really rowdy, ready to go in the game, and he cramps up and he hurt himself. So now I have to go in, and I'm like, oops, my turn. And I'm trying to hype myself, psych myself up. And I just remember when the offense was on this field and, 4th down comes, incomplete happens. And I remember seeing T come to the sideline, and in my mind, I'm already still trying to hype myself up to go out here and get this ball back. And I see T coming down. I don't like my quarterback to be down because T was always smiling just like me. And I see him come. I say, hey, I got you, man. Hey, don't worry about it. I'm about to get this ball back, man. Keep your helmet on. I got you, baby. And I didn't believe that in my mind, because this whole game, Brandon Birdworth is giving me the business, man. He is kicking my butt all game, man. I mean, I didn't have a tackle, an assist, or anything the whole game against Brandon. And it's just crazy that on the first down play, I got a tackle for loss. And then the next play, the play happened. I was like, thank the Lord for it happening, because I can't believe this man took the play off or whatever. And I said, man, this man has to be human. Yes, I got him.
So, Billy, how much pressure were you putting on yourself? I've heard that story where you told T that. You said, don't take your helmet off. And I've also heard that, didn't Darwin Walker look at you and said, Billy, we got to make something happen. We can't lose. Is that how that story went too?
Well, me and Darwin always were competing when it comes to tackle for losses and stuff like that. And we always competed with each other. I mean, we wanted to make a play all the time, man. You know, yeah, Debo always say, we got to make a play. So every time we went on the field, we try to make something happen every time, especially against Arkansas. Arkansas, to us back then, was called a stat team. You know, they was just the rest of the SEC. It was Florida, Tennessee, and the rest. So we treated them like that. So when the coaches were telling us about these guys with All-American, we threw it out the window. But they came in to play, and they was whipping our butt.
Yeah, and the thing that stands out about that game too is the fact, again, for those that don't remember, I think it was 8 straight plays after you helped force the turnover. You forced the turnover. 8 straight plays that Tennessee just ran the ball with Travis Henry. That you usually don't see, Billy, a game go that way in which a team gets beat on the line, arguably on both sides, and then suddenly in the last 2 minutes they beat the HE double hockey sticks out of the other team. I mean, that just never happens.
Well, the thing is, like, we knew what our offensive line can do for us, the running game. And it's kind of what made us mad because they wasn't doing what they did against us in practice all week. You know, Arkansas defensive line averaged about 240 pounds compared to our 330 pounds. So we knew that we had an advantage. And I remember when we got the ball back and I saw Coach and them go out there, I knew it was over from then because I knew that they was going to run the ball. And it has nothing to do with Ada Travis that was in the game. They was going to score. It didn't matter.
Let me ask you this, Billy. When you watch this Tennessee defense, they come in waves as well. So how difficult is – well, let me ask from your perspective. How nice is it to be fresh as opposed to playing 60 plays a game, to be able to come out there? If you could talk about that mindset, because you were talking about how you guys went 3 deep in 98. Tennessee looks – like they're going 3 deep, and they are in 2024.
Well, I'd say this is probably the closest to a defensive line that I would say that compares to what we had back in 98. These guys are very good up front for a change. We finally got what I call leadership up front. We got seniors that are leading this group of guys at defensive tackle. And in the SEC, you're going to have those dominant DTs to be able to be successful in this conference. And we finally got that for a change. The rotation, you have to stay fresh as a defensive lineman. It gives you an advantage because you think about this, the offensive line and the quarterback is the only position on the field that never comes off the field. So they're tired. So if you got fresh guys going against these guys, you get an advantage to a certain extent because we're at a disadvantage as a defensive player because we don't know what they're doing. So now if we're fresh all the time when they're tired, we get a better chance of getting to the ball and making plays happen. And we finally got a defensive front and front seven to make that happen for a change.
Pretty strong. Caleb?
Yeah, so Billy, sorry. Looking at that, what do you make of me saying that which defensive line would be deeper to you? The one that you see now with Tennessee or the one that you guys had in 98?
I'm going to say the one that we had in 98. I mean, just because here, I'll tell you this here. In 98, now you think about this here. John Henderson and Albert Haynes were 4th string.
Ouch.
That is true.
So think about that in perspective when it comes to a defensive line when we had back then. We had guys like walk-ons like Matt Gooden that could have played if he had the opportunity to play. That's how deep we was when it came to defensive line. You know, we had 2 great defensive line coaches that was amazing with Dan Brooks and Steve Cardwell. You know, and then we have assistant guys like Marion Hobby that was helping us on the side. It was amazing with the guys that we had back then. I didn't realize how deep and how good we were until truly recently when I go back and watch the film and I'm like, oh my God, we had that, we had that, we had that. Wow. And yes, and I'm not going to take anything from the guys that we have right now because, gosh, this group of kids is amazing, man, the way they get to the ball.
Billy, I want to talk about your print. I don't know if you have a sample of it. And I think Caleb, did you want to pull something up or something? You'd mentioned something. First of all, how can people get a hold of you? Your print is awesome. The actual play in which you cause the fumble. How do people get a hold of you if they want to purchase that?
You can contact me on Facebook, either Twitter, X, whatever they call it now, Instagram. My Twitter is @Ratliff40. My Instagram is BigWorm40. That's BIGWRM40. And then, of course, Facebook is my first and last name.
All right. What was your Twitter again there before Caleb?
Twitter, it is Ratliff, RATLIFF40.
I like it. Caleb?
Billy, you are leading right now. I had the poll question we have up that people are voting on is what is the greatest play in Tennessee history? And it's the stumble and fumble, the Juwan Jennings Hail Mary catch, the James Banks Hail Mary catch at Florida, or something else. You're not just leading with the plurality. You're leading with the majority, 51%.
The rest of those aren't close, Caleb.
The Juwan Jennings one against George is close.
I don't know about all of that. At any point on the sideline, did you specifically think, we're blowing it. This was so special and this isn't going to happen? Or did you truly have that inner belief even when things didn't look good against Arkansas?
I'll be honest with you. I'm a winner, man. I never think about losing, and when losing comes in my head, it makes me fight even harder. I don't understand how people quit even when you're down by 100 points. I'm still trying to win against the man across from me. So that time we was losing, I still didn't think we was going to lose that game. I never even thought that the process was going to happen that way. I knew if we can get the ball back, we still got a chance to win the game.
The other thing I want to talk to Billy about is what he overcame just to be on the field. I haven't seen very many players. As a matter of fact, I can't even think of one off the top of my head in 25 years. I'm old, Billy, of covering Tennessee. But you talk about a guy who played through pain. That was Billy Ratliff. Give me 30 seconds. The show represented by Banks and Jones, Tennessee's trial attorney. Well, it's because they're Tennessee's trial attorney. You can play to win with Banks and Jones because they'll go to trial. You've heard of other lawyers. They say they'll go to trial and fight for you. They won't. They just want to settle. That's the easiest way out. Well, that's not Banks and Jones, led by T. Scott Jones. They won't settle. They'll go to trial for you. Tennessee's trial attorney. They play to win. Truly, Tennessee's trial attorney when it comes to criminal defense or personal injury. Why settle? Banks and Jones, T. Scott Jones, banksandjones.com. All right, Billy. So if you can remember them all, run through the injuries that you suffered during your college career. Because for those that don't know, because of this, the NFL wasn't as much in Billy's future, but he was a freak athlete. You were an incredible size speed ratio guy. But injuries were a problem. How many injuries do you have? Do you even remember them all?
Oh, there's so many, man. I had a total of 11 surgeries, 3 ACLs, broke tibia, broke fibia, broken ankle, nerve surgery in my ankle, nerve surgery in my foot. That's quite a few, man. I mean, injuries it's like it was just a sickness for me when it came to injuries, man. But the one thing about it, man, injuries didn't stop me, man. I just always felt like my brothers needed me on the field. I mean, I never even thought about the NFL or going to the next level or anything like that. I just knew if I can finish or stay healthy, I got a chance to play, or I had to wait till my turn to become that situation. But injuries was always there in my way, man. It was just one thing that kept hindering me from finishing out. And the way I've always told my coaches, like, if I can stay healthy, be on the field, there's a chance we're gonna win every single game, coach. It didn't matter who we playing. And the 99 season, that's why we didn't repeat. I still say that to this day. Me getting hurt, 99, we should have repeated as national champions.
I'll tell you this. I think you're the ultimate BFL, right up at the top of the list, because of what you overcame and what you did to help Tennessee win a national championship that doesn't happen without you. Caleb?
Yeah, so Billy, I want to talk a little bit about this week's game. What do you think Tennessee needs to be prepared for? And do you think Arkansas will put up a fight, or do you think Tennessee goes into Fayetteville and just beats the brakes off them?
I think it's going to be a good game starting off. Everybody is thinking we're going to be this juggernaut to score these points all of a sudden. This is our first true what I call SEC game. I don't count Oklahoma. They knew. They still got some work to work with. This week, Arkansas is going to be giving us a fit. You know, this is the true week that I say our receivers will be tested for the first time. And that's what I said. This year determines who will be the best to help our offense out, receivers and our defensive tackles. If our receivers can get off the line of scrimmage against these DBs, there's nothing Arkansas will be able to do to stop us. Defensively, we can contain the quarterback. I think we'll be just fine. I'm looking for a game of like 45-17 Tennessee.
There you go. I think I'm almost exactly. I've got my prediction written. I think I'm almost the exact. I know it's 42. So, Billy, great minds think alike, buddy.
Yes, sir.
All right, buddy. Have a blessed day. Again, if anybody wants to connect with Billy to get his print, which is fantastic, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to Billy. It's on Facebook and Twitter. And Billy, it means a lot, man. I appreciate you. You're the ultimate BFL.
Hey, thank you guys for having me on, man.
Thanks, buddy. How awesome is that? Billy Ratliff.